I look like him. Your mic. This guy is a clumsy.
We don't need the crowd around him. No, what do you mean?
I don't know you. This is there's no law. They suspended it now. There's no law. They suspended it. There is no law now. Down.
You look like Queen now.
Why don't you know?
Allora, voilà. A posto.
Shida.
Georgina. Allora,
Shida.
Come now, let's go. Please.
In another effort to rearrest him, as you can see, it's a standoff between Femi Falana SAN as well as men of the Department of State Services.
But they fear.
Are you not Nigerian?
So now don't get it again.
The fucking gone. Who is your head? You don't have it. Leave here now. Don't mind this. Are you running away? Yeah, he's running away. Now, can I advise you to go out? You cannot arrest in the premises of the court. Please, can you walk out? You cannot arrest in the premises of the court. Who is your head?
They will not talk. Don't mind them. PSO is there.
So please, can we move?
PSO is there hiding.
There is currently a stand-down between men of the Department of State Services and human rights lawyer Femi Falana and his clients and Olawale Mandate Bakare. There is a standoff. The men are armed to the teeth with a car to arrest Sowore and Bakare after they had been granted bail. And there is also Sowore, who is being prevented from being rearrested.
Grace, Masha.
He knows already. He knows already.
Go out! Disgrace!
He knows already.
Let everybody.
Baba.
Big. Baba, no problem.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our
Arrest Omoyele Sowore. Thank you.
All right.
This is a standoff, a hostage situation you're witnessing live from the Federal High Court in Abuja. This is an attempt to rearrest right activist Omoyele Sowore barely 24 hours after he was granted bail by the Department of State Services.
Talking to my staff, everybody here shouting. They will drive the car, okay? They will drive the car. You cannot understand you go out of this place. Who understands?
Motions are high. Who will buckle first? It's a standoff basically a hostage situation. The DSS refusing to leave. They are armed to the teeth in an attempt to rearrest rights activist Sowore. Sowore.
If it's like this, nobody is security.
See your driver here. This is your driver. Is he not one of you? Papa. Please. Enough is enough.
This is a standoff. A DSS driver has now invaded the car of rights lawyer Femi Falana. We don't know what will happen.
Guys, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open.
These are live scenes from the Federal High Court in Abuja, where Sowore is now being whisked, apparently, back to DSS detention. In what seems like a rearrest of Omoyele Sowore, and they have driven off to the headquarters of the DSS, a few kilometers from the Federal High Court in Abuja, and this is what's happening. First, there was an attempt to rearrest him. Lawyers, journalists, people who were in court staff, everybody rallied. They threw themselves on Sowore to prevent his rearrest. Sowore came out with his lawyer Femi Falana in an attempt to leave and to enforce their rights as a free man because he has been granted bail by the court. But they were ambushed by DSS men who were armed to the teeth.
Somebody will not that. They have picked the right person. What a fair.
Can you mean not to be out of the school?
God and the court and sent her away from the court. This is a lawless nation. This is a lawless nation. You can't get there what your money is. We need our constitution. No matter what. So whether you like it or not, the freedom he presses for, the good life for every Nigerian he presses for, we see the light of the day. He's not giving up. He cannot be broken. They attempted in the custody. They sent emissaries. They pleaded with him. Surrender what you believe, but he said no. He's too tall until justice prevails. And they have just truncated justice. We got yesterday, but no problem. It should also be known that today it wasn't an arrest. It was an assassination attempt. It was an assassination attempt. It was an assassination attempt. You strangled him. You grabbed your gun at him. You slapped him. You beat him. They tried to kill him in the cause of blood today. And the whole world is watching. The whole world.
Sowore in court, in open court, after he was granted bail barely 24 hours ago. He was granted bail at about 5 p.m. 5 p.m. on Thursday, and he has now been whisked away to the DSS headquarters by men who were armed to the teeth and sent to carry out this mission. Scenes of chaos. There was a brief standoff. There was an attempt to strangle Sowore at some point, which was foiled by the police, which was foiled by journalists and some lawyers who threw themselves on Sowore and formed a human shield about him.
If we are in a safe society, the DSS enter into this custody. They are criminals. Try to answer.
Every day, people are dying. I'm killing people. But yet, someone is standing against it, and what they want to do is assassinate. Let this be in your mind that.
All right, so we're now joined by what are your thoughts about what has transpired?
It's just unfortunate. We are in a very bad place as a country. We are no longer practicing democracy. This country. Before he finishes his term, he's going to destroy this country. I'm appealing to President Muhammadu Buhari, General Muhammadu Buhari, to suspend the constitution, to ask the jurisdiction of the court so that he can become the supreme leader of Nigeria. That is the only way forward in moving forward. Because this is not a democracy. This cannot be a democracy. Because how do you explain a situation where the president is supervising unconstitutional means to ask jurisdiction of the court in a constitutional democracy? It is unacceptable, and this is an aberration to anything called democracy. What has happened today in court is a direct assault on our constitutional democracy, and it must be resisted by every sane Nigerian. We are no longer operating a democracy. What we have in Nigeria is a
Popularity for what?
It's okay, but
When you are killing the Nigerian now, you are saying that you are not.
I have nothing to fear. I have nothing to fear. He's a lawyer. But I will tell you. No. Please. I will forget it. The worst you can do is to kill me. Even though I have not committed any offense.
What matters is the conscience.
But you know what?
how many have you killed before they are killing you?
No. Look what is happening today. What is happening today, sir? We have to act with the fear of God in everything we do. Apart from your profession, apart from